each quarter, I could probably credibly say this each quarter, but I feel like our bar continues to raise of like what a really good looking company is. And we are now starting to see the follow-ons of the investments from a year or two ago, which is amazing,
nice.
which is
That is
feels
amazing.
so good. And I'm like,
Just very validating.
when the bar goes up and you're getting good feedback on the stuff we did a year ago, I'm like, oh my God, I can't
We're
wait.
pre-rich.
I can't wait.
It's done.
What are some of the things that we're learning? Would you say we're learning?
Oh, we're definitely learning. Thought it might be worthwhile because we've got enough companies now that are going out to raise money to talk a little bit about where we're at on to follow on or not follow on.
We just had our first and only follow-on.
Yeah. And I think it's like tricky. It created like a lot of conversation amongst us about should we.
Yeah, I loved the idea of having the hard and fast rule of we never follow on, just so I never had to tell one company no and another company yes, well, because the signaling and all that stuff felt like a lot to navigate. But then also because we're investing so early, we have like, hey, we weren't even a company when you put money in. Now we are, and you've seen some validation. Like, would you like to? And as capital allocators, there's an argument for smart. There's very smart opportunities for some of these.
Yeah. And as the fund grows, like sometimes we just get to take even a more correctly sized bite for the total fund structure now that we've got more capital than we had 2 years ago.
Yeah. It's funny because like quarter by quarter it changes. So we've had a few companies that have come back and been like, hey, thanks for that $38 you gave me. You really screwed up the math on my cap table. Would you mind?
It was 26,000, just to be clear.
Would you mind evening this out? And like they always their rounds always come up when we're like, there's 25 other great opportunities that quarter, and we're staring at it. We're just like tortured even to pick our next couple, and you have to say no. And so like really, I feel like the follow on from us came because there's like we had just enough left in the quarter that it made sense.
Yep.
I guess follow on happens when the circus hits just right, and when it doesn't, we write a check in and then we just give you support and love you.
Yeah, I think that it's a thing we're going to keep talking about, and I don't think we have
every company.
We don't have deep religion about it, but what I will say is that like whatever 2 years in, certainly compared to last year, I'm personally like way more confident that we're going to keep having deal flow that grows. And so when the trade off is like with a kind of limited fund size, do you want to be making new investments or do you want to be doubling down on the ones that have shown traction or whatever? We're small enough where like those are real trade offs right now, but also like gets me kind of excited as we start to bring on new LPs and grow where it's like, ooh, we're going to get to say yes to the best answer every time.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, I don't know. I kind of really feel like in the last few months, I've kind of really landed on like, okay, we're going to be able to do this like extremely well when we're 2 or 3 times our current size. Like we should not, the way that we're doing this is not befit a $20 million fund, but being able to deploy like a couple few million a year, we're going to be able to make the best decisions for how to allocate capital. And so like makes me think like, hey, like ringing the LP bell is a good idea. Making sure that our current portfolio companies know that like we're open to follow on, right? Like we're open to follow on, but like we are still at the size that like we have to be really smart.
We're open. Also don't feel bad if we say no because
it's not a signal as much as it is like us trying to figure out like what is the right size at which we can just like say yes to the ones that are making progress and just double down every time. I mean, it makes funds work much better, frankly, when like you can double down on your winners. It really sucks if you do that all of the time. When you tell someone no, it is a signal, and like we are not in the business of sending that signal. We're just not big enough to get to everything we wish we could get to now.
Yeah, that's right.
We're grading on a hard curve every quarter based on whatever opportunities we have in front of us.